what is something that people think is culture that you are hesitant to accept?
Kale.
Welcome to Reality Checks, the show where guests are invited to run a survey to 1,000 Americans and then predict the results of what that survey came back with. So today we're joined by Sabrina Lynch, Head of Strategy at Nuance Matters. Welcome, Sabrina.
Thank you for having me. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, it's exciting. And today we're talking about culture. What was your kind of perspective on culture that inspired this?
For me, it's because of the word culture being used and conflated with so many other things that people's connotation has gone a little bit AWOL. And having an understanding of what it truly means to be like culturally attuned, to have cultural intelligence, that there's a big differentiator. It's not a news trend. It's not a fad. It is not something that happens in one particular moment. Culture is about human behavior in the communities that propel it. So I just wanted to really help level set like our understanding so we can target culture in the way that it needs to be with respect.
Oh, well, we'll see if that is what Americans think. Just to confirm, you haven't seen any of these results before. You're seeing them for the first time.
No, this is the first time I'm going to see it.
All right, let's dig in. So first question, how many Americans think they understand what culture means?
I feel it's going to be a high number. I have an inclination that it's most probably going to be in the 70, 80% people believing they know what it means.
Why do you say that?
I feel because, again, of all these different connotations of what the word means, that it has a different definition by so many different individuals, that they will see the one that they hold more truest to them is the right version. Well, let's see, though. Let's see, the country might be different.
So maybe not like couldn't guess a Webster's dictionary answer, but believe that they know.
Yes, I think so.
I would say that's about right. You got 86% there that say they understand it well.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me. It's just because of this resurgence of people wanting to reclaim their identities or redefine what it means to them. What they do is also take the word culture and see all those different aspects of themselves, like being an accumulation of culture. So that the statistic is not that surprising. And it'd be interesting to hear, though, from all of those people, how they defined it, too, for themselves.
Well, we do get into that a little bit, and we'll get there in a sec. But first question is, which generation thinks that they understand culture best?
Oh, that's a good one. Sorry, I'm pausing for this one. I would feel that it's going to be even split. I do. I feel that each generation, again, has a different relationship with the word culture, whether it's from an ethnicity point of view, a racial one, or it could be a fandom, which the way Gen Z or the younger generation view it as. So I feel it's going to be, I think it's going to be like equal split across them. I would say, that's what my inclination is.
All right. It's not a non-answer because it is an answer, but you're not going to alienate anyone. The answer is pretty even split. And I would say, that's mostly right. Like they all think they understand. Gen Z, very confident.
I think that's it feels to me that Gen Z is higher because of more, again, the explanation, how they view the word and all those different aspects of culture that are not so one-dimensional that millennials, Gen X or baby boomers would see it. Because you've got so many different traditional identity markers that like the more older set of that audience will see it through a particular lens, whether it's just age or just your DNA. But Gen Z perhaps are like leaning more towards, okay, it's not just about those conventional markers, but it's also about the type of music that I love. It's also about my neighborhood specifically. It's also about like my different views on entertainment or in the news. So that's how they dimensionalize it. So it's not surprising to a degree.
So the next one, this was a ranking question. So this is what you were just kind of talking about a little bit, where we were asked people to rank from what is most to least likely to be culture. The options were like ethnicity, generation, language, where they live, media and entertainment news, nationality, online community, and religion. So given that, I know I just kind of said a lot of things. Was there anything that jumped out that you think was most likely to be selected or least likely?
I feel that depending again on the age group, I feel that the culture will be your community, and that community being again your ethnicity or your race. Also, again, if you're first or second generation, your background also plays your background plays a role in that too. So again, your religion, like the countries or the origins of where your family are. But then also there is state pride too. So the way that a Chicagoan is going to act and have pride or a sense of belonging with their own city, for instance, is going to be something different, or like a different means of expression that you would find in Atlanta, for instance, or like in Georgia. So there's cultural pride in that, or what like separates them, but there's also what's uniquely theirs. So I'm going to say culture is going to be the location, your race and your ethnicity.
Okay, so location, race, ethnicity.
Yes.
And then this is kind of just like all American. So Gen Pop audience, does that change anything?
If it's Gen Pop, no, I don't feel that changes anything, because there's like more of a sense of especially in this day and age, more of a sense of understanding who you are and who you perceive yourself to be versus what external aspects are telling you that you should be. So I feel that plays a bigger role in like how one like determines who they are.
Well, the results were ethnicity number one. That was, I think, what you were saying. And then down at the bottom, I thought that was interesting because I feel like we were talking about at the top of the show, kind of this warped idea of what culture is, being inspired a little bit by kind of digital news cycles. And it seems like that is not something that the whole general population is on board with.
Yeah. Also what intrigues me is the nationality. And you know how we had that question about, do you have an understanding? Do you know what culture is? It'd be interesting to do a deeper dive into the nationality part, because, nationality is hyphenated by, a good percentage of the population, which is I am Asian American, or I am first generation American, or second generation. So there is again like there is a more depth to how they perceive themselves, and what nationality means to each of those individuals.
Next one is, do Americans in the West or South think their vision of culture is better than the average Americans?
I'm going to go down the way I think it played out with the age groups, and think it's even split.
Even split? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high, and it's going to be in the same like higher percentage. So I would say like 88. I'm going to go for like 87 feels good on both sides.
So 87 for both. So the answer is the same, but like way up there.
Way up there, yeah.
So everybody thinks that their vision of culture is better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. That's okay. That's surprising. I'm not gonna lie.
Why did you think that it was going to be higher than it is?
For me, because it felt like it would come from a sense of their own their pride of their location or neighborhood or which state that they would be from, and believing that I have the same amount of I have same amount of energy and same amount of pride, being the word of the day, it seems, of like an understanding of the word culture and what it means to me in the West and South, than the other person, my next door neighbor of another state. So that's interesting.
It's almost reassuring that at least I wouldn't say most people, but the biggest segments at least are neutral.
Yes. Yeah. And there's kind of like a little bit of an inclination of respect there as well, which is nice. Not so diversive of I have a better vision of America, of culture, than the average person, but everybody's thinking, no, I think I'm around about the same. So more about empathy and understanding each other versus trying to have that one-upmanship that's causing so much divisiveness.
Yeah, I mean, other things causing divisiveness, but that's a whole nother podcast episode.
Oh, that's 3 podcasts. Yeah.
Do Americans think Hollywood and advertising capture their view of culture?
I feel, again, dependent on the background of the audience, it's going to differ. But in this more gen pop view, I'm going to say it's probably going to be a little bit below 50%.
Okay.
I feel there's some conflict. I feel that conflict will be at play here in determining how they answer that. So I'm going to say, I want to go for like 49%.
49%. So if it was a yes, no, then it would be no.
No, yeah.
Okay. So no is the answer.
Yeah, that's really from even like social entertainment too. It's interesting when you look at social entertainment, I believe, is like the Netflix and the Hulus of the world, from my understanding.
I think in the question we had some parentheses, which I took out so it would fit on the slide better, but it was like TikTok, YouTube, and I want to say Instagram.
And that's I feel like because it's such a wild plains of social entertainment where individuals are basically the rules of how they create and what they create. And people flock to what they know and who they know. And the fact that, again, this is showing that there's not even much faith, even with those particular channels, means that there is a gap here, that there is still a big job to be done in capturing cultures in the way that people need it to be and desiring them to be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's probably people out there who think, oh, there's too many video podcasts already. But this data shows that go make it if you think if it doesn't exist and you want it to exist, go make it.
Exactly. I need to see myself more, but maybe it's more like with more depth than I am already like being portrayed on these particular channels.
Possibly.
Even like looking at the low stat for marketing and advertising too. I think that's a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we also dug into that a bit. So which generation most thinks Hollywood and advertising reflects their view of culture? So keep in mind that it's a pretty low amount as it is, but which generation is it resonating with?
Which generation thinks Hollywood and advertising reflects their view of culture? I think it's going to be the boomers. I feel it's going to be boomers with that. Given that the way they saw themselves in all the different mediums that were available at the time, there weren't that much perimeters to work with. So, and also as you age up too, there is, as we already seen before, there's less representation of that older demographic. So but from how they were perceived before, when they were at different stages of their life before they got older, perhaps that's how they felt that they should see themselves, because that was the only means that they were able to see the folks that were portrayed, that would portray them with certain demographics, of course.
Okay, so boomers, and we have this, we don't break into race on this or age, or I mean, we do age, but not race, not region. So looks like we have millennials.
Oh, millennials, interesting. That's I'm surprised by that.
Why is that?
Well, because I think there was with boomers that being quite again with the rigid parameters of what mediums were they could watch, listen to see themselves being depicted, and understanding that of course they needed more, but that set how they would view themselves. And then perhaps like with older millennials, that's when the tables were starting to turn a little bit more, so for calls of better representation, and also like better people behind the scenes as well that were leading the creation of a lot of this content. So it does make sense from that point of view. It's also nice to be wrong on this occasion.
Yeah, you were getting too many right. It was nice to have
Yeah,
something so
let's
people
like
don't
balance
think.
it out.
Yeah, we can't have people thinking you got the results in advance.
Yeah, exactly.
Integrity of the whole show. Uh, okay, last question is: do Americans think their culture is getting more or less important?
Oh, that's a hot button. That's a spicy question. That's a spicy one. Um, I believe that I feel that it's going to be just a little over 50%. Americans will be, yes, I believe it's getting more, I would believe it's getting more important. And that's going to be 49%.
And why do you think it's getting more important? 49%.
I think we're living in a world right now where again that level of like national identity is being dissected, particularly by the younger folks in the generation. And how do they view American culture? What is American culture as it means to them? In the same way as like, how do they determine and define what culture is to them too? Is there one such thing as an American culture, or is it again like that beautiful reflection of all these different like ideologies and beliefs and fandoms and habits, etc., that makes up a plethora of importance in the. Let's see what this is. I'm actually genuinely intrigued to see what the answer would be to this.
Cool. Well, the reality is less important.
Okay. Okay, like 31% decreasing 17 and 42%. Yeah, I think again is because of how the difference between the definition of culture and the connotation of it too, and again how you identify with the word culture as it relates to your own life every day. So there might be aspects of it that you feel are not getting the spotlight, but there are other aspects or other demographics within that too that feel they're getting the more of the spotlight that they were being robbed of like before. But it's good to see again though like the discrepancies between the age groups.
Yeah, especially with boomers really feeling like maybe their culture is slipping away.
Yeah, but this I feel that this like ties into like the motivation why I just thought boomers, again in relation to like their identity because of those again. I feel like the rigid ways that they were being representative, and there's so much more mediums there is. So perhaps the mediums that again show those different levels of depth and again multidimensional ways that a person can relate. That kind of it's kind of them catching up with it.
Well, I think we're at time. So I know that there were a lot of different cuts that we wanted to think about. So I can make sure to have those on the website. That'll be at yougov.com/reality checks when the episode is live. So when anyone's watching this, it's there. It's not right now if you're somehow accessing leaked footage. But Sabrina, where can they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also go onto the website Momentum Worldwide or momentumww.com. I am like head of strategy at Nuance Matters. Come find me there. Come say hello.
Thank you so much for joining.
No worries. My pleasure.
Hey, thanks for watching Reality Checks. Everything that you saw in today's episode was based on a YouGov survey of 1,000 Americans. If you want to learn more about that survey, the question wording, some of the results we didn't get to in the episode, you can go over to yougov.com/realitychecks. And hey, you can even run your own survey. Hot dog. Or vegan dog, if that's not your thing. Cool. That was weird. Thanks for watching. Bye.